Hello, everyone, and good afternoon once again. Hi, Lou. Lou, you're on mute.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Good, thanks.
Great to have you here, Lou. So, welcome to everyone who just joined in. This is panel number 6, who are going to be talking about our smaller weddings, the new norm. I think that's what we are resorting to nowadays, haven't we? And for everyone, I'm pretty sure you know Lou, but to the ones who do not and who have just joined in, Llewllyn is the managing partner for Urban Motion Events. He has been in the wedding and events industry for more than 10 years now and has worked in South Africa, Belgium, and London on international events ranging from 20 attendees to 60,000 attendees. So, from all kinds of small scale events to the large scale events, Llewellyn Duplessis has done it all. So, welcoming you on board to Espousal Online South Africa, and the stage is all yours while the panelists enter. Thank you once again, Lou.
Thank you very much, and thank you to all of our attendees joining us today on this topic of smaller weddings, the new norm. And as our panelists join from all across the globe, I'm sure that we're going to have a very interesting talk on this specific topic. And I think it's really relevant to the crowd today as you are planning your wedding today for all of our attendees. And I'm sure some of our suppliers across the industry in South Africa and from across the globe are also coming in online to see what our views are, but we're also very excited to see your views coming through in the comment section on the platform as well. So first of all, thank you very much for joining us, Espousal. We are going to kick off very quickly as we have limited time. We only have 25 minutes left, and I think it's a very broad type of topic. So I'm going to kick off just by introducing our panelists, and then they can tell you more about the company, a quick one-liner, and we'll quickly run through all of our panelists, and then we'll kick off with the topic. So I'm going to start off with our first panelist, Kenneth, and he is all the way from Malaysia. Kenneth, can you please tell our audience more about you?
Thank you, Lou. Hi, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kenneth. I'm from Malaysia, been in the wedding industry for 10 years now, and I'm also the founder of GYHS Events. Back to you, Lou.
Great, thank you so much. Next on our list is Zita from 360 Link Events. Zita, how are you?
Hi, good on you. My name is Zita. I'm the Managing Director of 360 Link, Events and Wedding Planning, and we do most of our events in Gauteng, focus a lot on the European larger weddings, and yes, we give you the complete event experience.
Great, thank you so much. And next on our list is Hendrik from CNH Entertainment. Good day, Hendrik.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for joining. Yeah, I'm from CNH Events Entertainment, being in the entertainment industry since 2004 already. Making a dream wedding your picture perfect day.
Thank you so much, Hendrik. And last on our list is Jenna from Hooray Weddings. Hi, Jenna.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Right, we are Hooray Weddings, and we are an online blog, marketplace, and directory based in South Africa.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And I think let's kick off, first of all, by saying well done for surviving such a really tough time in the wedding industry. And it's good to see that suppliers are still out there and holding on, even though it is such a tough time for the wedding industry. And we can't make it happen without our attendees today, who are ultimately our customers that keep on supporting the industry. So let's kick off with our first question that I have for all of you, and we'll quickly touch base with each of you just on your view on this. COVID has changed many wedding trends, the way that weddings are done, etc. But do you think smaller weddings are here to stay? So let's kick off with Jenna. What is your view on this, Jenna?
Me personally, I really do think that smaller weddings, not necessarily the elopements and stuff, are here to stay, but I definitely think people are wanting the more intimate, 50 to maybe, like when numbers allow, to 100 people I think people have realized the importance of what everyone has come to celebrate, which is your love.
Right, thank you so much. And Kenneth, all the way from Malaysia, what is your view from an international point of view? Do you think smaller weddings are here to stay?
Well, I believe I can only speak for, I guess, the Asian part of the world. I would say it's going to be here, but it's not here to stay, right? For a good reason, because like it or not, across all Asian or we are the descendants of the older civilization, we realize that there is never a small wedding. A wedding is actually a very involved of practically, I would say, villages of manpower and people to be there. So I guess no, I don't think so.
Great, thank you so much. And Hendrik, from an entertainment point of view, do you think smaller weddings are here to stay?
I think in a South African perspective, currently with the economy before lockdown, even before COVID strike, where the older weddings was always the parents used to pay everything. More and more in South Africa, the couple themselves starts paying for the weddings. They start cutting budgets. And then COVID came and showed us a different kind of wedding, make it smaller weddings. So I think in a South African perspective, yes, it's something that's going to stay for a while. You'll have your 1 or 2 or 3 big weddings now and then, but the main course of events going forward, I think, is going to be a bit smaller. Around a bold figure running around between 80 and 100. We used to have 250, 300 people weddings. I think the new norm is going to become your 80 to 100 people wedding in a complete view in that, yes.
Great, thank you so much. And Zita, from your side, you get a lot of European weddings, couples coming to get married here. How do you see that going forward? Do you think that is currently a trend, and will it go forward, or do you think it will return back to bigger scale weddings later on?
So I do a lot of Portuguese, Greek, Italian weddings of South Africans here. But I don't think the smaller weddings will stay within those cultures. It's all about being bigger and better and how many people we can have at our wedding. And you can't cut the auntie's cousin out or the mom's cousins out. So I don't think on that perspective that it will go any smaller. I do see with my brides, we just keep moving the dates until we can accommodate the amount of guests.
Yes, definitely. So I think, especially in South Africa as well, we have such a big, diverse market in South Africa. We have so many cultures from across the globe in South Africa, so many different types of weddings. So it really becomes difficult, especially for those cultures who are used to 1,000+ people at their weddings. So this is currently not ideal for them. You do have some cultures that do prefer intimate weddings, and for them, I think this is a great market at the moment because they don't have to think of an excuse to exclude some family members that you haven't talked to in 6 or 10 years. But for most cultures, especially in South Africa, I think it's very hard to stick within that 50 or 100 limitation. And we hope that it's not here to stay. We hope that vaccinations will take that and those numbers up a bit, and that we can actually accommodate those cultures that do prefer big weddings. Otherwise, I don't think it will be such a special day for them. But also on that note, so currently we don't have a choice. Events are limited to about 100 people indoors and about 200 to 250 outdoors. And we're looking in South Africa going into a third wave again, which means we'll most likely go up into another level of lockdown. Our event levels always come first, and we will get a reduction in that. So with that said, currently we are limited to small weddings, but that doesn't mean that people actually spend less money. And I think, Zita, I'm going to ask you first to comment on this. Small weddings are on the rise, and it's currently the new norm. But do you think people necessarily spend less money with a small wedding, or do they actually understand now that they have less guests, so let's go the extra mile with additional decor items and more bespoke type of event?
So 100% the smaller weddings now, it is more, let me do a 4-course, a 5-course meal for my guests and entertain them. So bring some kind of form of entertainment. I have a bride that's coming up and she's got a band and she's got a saxophonist, and they've just gone that extra mile with entertainment for the small amount of guests. So we've got all the kinds of games and entertainment that you'll have that you can think of at this wedding. So I do think although they have that money, they're still trying to utilize that budget. So yeah, I do think they are going to be more bespoke weddings and more extravagant. But that does not necessarily mean that it's cheaper if you have less guests. Like, the brides don't understand that. It doesn't mean because you've cut down by 50 guests, you have 50,000 Rand or more money, let's just say, for example. So that's sometimes difficult to get into the bride's minds.
Definitely, and I see, Kenneth, Hendrik, you agree from an entertainment point of view, Zita mentioning those bands and additional entertainment. Do you currently see that trend as well, where people normally would just have like a small background singer at a wedding are now going for entertainment or more extravagant entertainment?
Yes, most definitely. We get more and more requests for that. Reason being, obviously, people have less guests now, so they've got a bit of a spare budget. Most of your venues charge per head price on the menus. And if you have 40 or 50 guests less, you're sitting with 10, 15,000 Rand more in a budget all of a sudden. And the point starting from is most people, when they start planning a wedding, they start with their budget. If they have the budget and they start arranging, they see what's left in the budget, the first thing they're up on is entertainment, luckily for us, because that's the nice thing about it, is you can always add value with entertainment to entertain your guests in different ways. So yes, definitely we're seeing that as well. The spending not going down at all. Weddings costing the same amount through the bank from our side. They're just up in the game and wanting more, and they're wanting bigger things. Band-wise, yeah, it's difficult sometimes to fit a big band into a small venue, but yeah, we have to make that happen sometimes as well.
Thank you so much, Hendrik, for that. And Kenneth, over to you. Do you see the same type of trend from an international perspective? What are some of the cool things that people now add onto a wedding to make it more bespoke?
Well, I would say for over in Malaysia, yes, I do see that weddings are getting more bespoke, right? Just as simple as a wedding favor, from a simple of maybe a set of cutlery, just a spoon and a fork. They may just upgrade it, include the knife, better quality. And also at the same time, I agree with Hendrik. Entertainment was the first thing they want. I was initially having a 3-piece band, and now I'm getting, if possible, a mini orchestra if they can go up to that extent. So I say, yeah, they actually do spend more. And of course, I'm not sure what about South Africa, but in Malaysia, there's a lot of times venues are offered by come together with food, tie in with food. So if you have a certain amount of expenditure at that venue with the menu, then you get the venue for free. Yeah, you don't pay anything additional. So what happened is you see upgrades of menu to, and an average Chinese wedding dinner is a 10-course meal. So we can start as low as we are talking about maybe US dollars, about a $400 US menu to they may just upgrade to about $600 to $700 US per table, of 10. So yeah, definitely better food, better music, better drinks. Suddenly the whole wedding just upgraded.
Yes, people certainly have to try and find some happiness in this difficult situation. And Jenna from Hooray Weddings, what's your view on this? Have you had some customers now coming and asking for certain upgrades to make it more bespoke?
Well, we do a lot of little Instagram polls with brides and stuff to see what's going on. And many brides are they're doing it either way. They're going really small and they're having an intimate ceremony in their parents' backyard. and then they're using that wedding money for a deposit on a house or a car or something like that. Or they actually 3 ways. Then the middle way is an intimate ceremony, but still, adding extras. We had a bride that actually bought a second wedding dress because she saved a bit with not having as many guests. She bought a second wedding dress to do a dress change for the reception. And then you've got the brides that are waiting it out to still have their big 300 guest wedding day. So I think it all boils down to what you want to do and what you've decided with your wedding budget now that things have changed. If you're going to wait for the big wedding, they're waiting for the big wedding. But you will, if you're doing it in your parents' backyard and, it's just a ceremony, you will be saving the money. But either way, the intimate ceremonies, you still have to spend money on your photographer. And that's still so many hours. So you're not going to save money on a photographer because they still have to shoot you, getting ready, the reception, the ceremony, all of that. So there are those costs that you have to realize you won't be saving on at all.
Yeah, I think I can see all of our panelists agreeing with that, and that is sometimes the misconception about the size of a wedding and the cost thereof and your budget. Some elements will still stay the same. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to cut down on 50% of your wedding in numbers, but that means that you'll save 50% in your budget. You might save a 10 or a 20% on some of your variables, but some of your stuff like entertainment, some of your infrastructure, your tables, your chairs, your decor items, most of those items mainly stay the same. And I think that's also where it becomes difficult in reaching your client's ultimate goal, because before they walk into your offices, they already have this predefined budget where they want to save 50% now, because we're not on 100 people, we're now on 50 people, and then you need to try and find a middle ground to try and still make them happy. And also another thing, Jenna, that you mentioned now is also people going with smaller weddings and taking the money that they do save in using that for a deposit on a house, or maybe paying off some of their debt. That is also good to see in a way, because also weddings sometimes are more of a status thing, and people spend more money than what they actually have to spend on the event. The days are gone of where the parents pay for the wedding. Hendrik also mentioned that earlier, and I think Zita as well, where some of the couples actually now pay for the wedding themselves, and then they have to go into debt and they could take out a loan. And I think this is where it becomes a little bit easier for people. Although we are in a pandemic, it becomes a little bit easier to control those expenses and don't put yourself too far in the red, but still have that personalized, bespoke wedding that you've dreamed of, but not killing yourself with a lot of debt, So that's also a good thing that I can see in the market, which is also some of a type of a step moving forward, that you can spend it with your family and your close relatives and not those far related family members that you haven't even spoken to. So going on to our next question, and I think Zita, you would comment on this, as you deal with a lot of big weddings as well. How do you not offend someone in not now inviting them? How do you currently advise your clients? Because now you're coming down from a big Portuguese wedding, for instance, or Italian wedding where they love big weddings, and now you can only do 50 or 100 people if you're lucky. How do you not offend someone?
So what I've got, when I meet with the bride, I've got the inquiry form, and what I've attached now, after we've now gone ahead with the wedding or agreed that we're going to go ahead with it, I've got a little flow chart that any wedding planner can find on Pinterest, and it all bride, and it asks you all these questions. So have you spoken to them in the last 6 months? Yes or no? And it will take you to different sections, and then at the end it will determine invite or not invite, and then you'll put them on the list. I always say to my guests, make that big 300 guest list, make a 150 list, and then make a 100 list. And then that will determine, why are you cutting those people down, and would they be offended? What we've also done is we're working together with another company where we literally come and video the weddings right from the beginning. So we record the brides and the grooms getting ready, and then you as the guest are sitting at home, you're watching them do their hair and makeup, you're watching the first dance, you're part of the photo booth activity where you can take a photo and pretend like you're part of the wedding. We just tell the guest to get some props. So we're getting those guests at home. So obviously some elderly family members that can't attend, we're getting them to sit at home in front of the TV and actually join the wedding and watch the speeches and everything. So that's been quite innovative based on what we're currently living with. And brides are going for that at the moment. So that's how I'm just like, you don't want to offend anyone, but you can still include them in a nice way. So that's what we're doing.
Thanks, Zita. And Kenneth, any creative ways of making everyone feel involved and not offended from your side? Kenneth, you're just on mute. Yes.
Sorry. Right. Okay, so on my side here, what I usually do is I just advise them to categorize their guest list, into like first cousins, second cousins, and then relatives, and then you have your colleagues, your business associate, and yada yada yada, high school friends and so on. So I would just give them a straight, if you wouldn't want to invite one, then don't start. Yeah, so basically stop opening cans of worm along the way. Because if you like, okay, he's my high school friend, yet we are BFF forever, and yet I would like to invite them. But then, yes, that's your high school friend. What about your other high school friends, right? You can't be having one and offending the rest. So I say, it's very much what's the extension. Like, I totally agree with Zita, and I guess I learned something new here, the flow chart, getting them to write down, just to sort it out, whether have they spoken with each other in the short time frame and so on. Yeah, these are the little things, but I guess, and at this moment, to be honest, over in Malaysia, getting involved as in a virtual wedding is not exactly, I would say the trend didn't pick up. Unfortunately, it didn't pick up because they find that I would spend the time better watching some live going on Facebook and Instagram selling them something than rather sitting in front of the computer or the TV for the next maybe 2 hours looking at things that there's no interaction at all for them, which actually for them they want the human touch, which is very minimal if you are doing it online. So yeah, in a way, some will be like, okay, it's all right. I'm not invited. I don't mind understanding the whole situation, and which I guess at this moment a lot of guests, in fact, the RSVP has been saying that no, they will not turn up for the big do as due to the pandemic and so on. So yeah, I guess this at this moment or this season now, it's very difficult that you offend someone for not inviting them for your wedding. This is how I look at it, because with the whole condition of the pandemic, people tend to be more wary, or at least in Malaysia, I can only speak for Malaysia, that people are more careful, and the older generations, they will be warned that, look, you're on a high risk, let's not risk it. Yeah, so I would say very minimal of offending being done so far, keeping my finger crossed.
That's good to hear. And as we touched on the subject of virtual weddings now and creating hybrid events, which is a trend currently all over the world, and it is really sad to see that in Malaysia, that you mentioned that it hasn't really picked up. Let's maybe just pick up with Jenna. Do you get a lot of requests of this kind, where people do record some of the sessions at a wedding and they live stream it to their family across the world? Because in South Africa, we do have international people traveling a year to get married, as well as families that are scattered all across the world that can't travel to South Africa, especially now with some of our regulations. Do you get a lot of requests like this currently from your brides and grooms?
Well, because we are online directory, so I can speak on behalf of the vendors, where they say, yes, this is I know Zita mentioned a company that goes and sets everything up, and I know there's a company, possibly the same company, just different branches that there's one setting up now in KZN region, and it is. I do believe that even when COVID is over and done, you're still going to have those people that are in Australia and UK and all over the world that might not necessarily be able to afford a flight ticket to South Africa. So then this is a great way to be able to be, well, guess what, you can still witness my wedding. So I think in this day and age, no matter COVID or not, we need to keep up with the times, and weddings need to keep up with the times. And I think one of the ways of doing that is, virtual weddings, virtual events, things like that for people that can't necessarily get to the wedding.
And your feedback on the market, you guys are a virtual platform. So this was actually great in getting traction on your platform and assisting brides and grooms looking for service providers where you normally had to go into a face-to-face meeting with suppliers. Do you see more visitors coming onto your platform and using the platform almost in a more permanent type of way all along their wedding experience and not just Googling suppliers? Can you see that currently?
Yes, I definitely think people want, to be able to get good recommendations or, to have someone to speak to. And that's where our tagline is bestie to the bride and sister to the service provider. We want to be that bestie to the bride. And I cannot tell you how our DMs throughout this whole process, I've had so many questions, I need advice, things like that, where brides need someone that they can can't think of the word, but they can, chat to and get an honest opinion. And, for me to go, this is a person I recommend, even if someone's not on our directory, I still know some people in the vendors in the industry. And I'm like, oh, actually that person, they're in Joburg, they could definitely help you, get in touch with them. They need someone that their opinion that they can respect and trust, if that makes sense.
Definitely, and I think that is why the wedding industry is very closely connected, and a personal opinion goes a far way within the wedding industry. And then Hendrik, I just want to touch base with you, just with regards to us still talking about the virtual experience. I'm sure that you guys have also had a couple of requests like this for entertainment, maybe. Can you tell us on what sort of requests you have and some services that you can recommend to brides and grooms that want to go to the virtual way?
Well, it's something that we actually started offering since we've started doing weddings again after this whole COVID thing came in, is to ask the bride and groom, when the service is happening, would you like us to set up a Zoom stream for you and plugged into the sound system and everything? So it's quite a secure Zoom stream coming from the point of view of entertainment wise, so it's actually clear sound. It's not someone standing with a phone. And we actually give them that on the support as well on our packages now. So a lot of people are saying, yes, please, let's do that for the ceremony part, so they can at least attend the ceremony, because I think most people want to attend the ceremony. The ceremony and the celebration afterwards is just entertainment wise and everyone having fun. But the service itself is normally the crucial part, where a lot of older people wants to be, your people coming from far wants to attend. So it's something that we actually offer our clients already. And it's something that's basically we're doing it on every weekend so far. We're going since we've introduced it, and just makes it life a bit easier if they know it's something that we cater for and they can just use the link. On an entertainment basis, the virtual things, you won't believe we've had a few weddings where we're doing the speeches and we actually Zoom people in on screens that's doing the speeches and the thank you saying through Zoom. With a virtual, I had one wedding where the MC wasn't even attending himself. He was a virtual MC. So that's possible. And every time he wants to talk, the screen comes on and he talks on the screen. So that's possible. We have done it. It just takes a bit of that personal feeling and the small things happening inside the venue away, which is that personal touch to your wedding. If your wedding is online, I think I made that comment in the past. If we're going to have online weddings in the future, you're going to miss that personal touch completely. And I think a wedding is still a personal thing, something that mustn't go global online completely, because you still have to have fun with your friends and family close to you, attending your day and celebrating it with you. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Hendrik. I see we have a question coming through. We are almost running out of time, but Alessandri is asking us, what is our opinion of having no tables, but rather lounge setups at a wedding? Kenneth, what is your view on this?
Well, I guess for me, it's very much of what age group your guests are. Okay, let's be very fair on this. It's something very practical, realistic. If we are talking about now, since we are on the topic of smaller number of guests and so on, so I would assume that it will be a bigger percentage in terms of your family members, where it includes a lot of seniors. So lounge area may not be as convenient, for them in terms of sitting down, getting up, and so yeah. So I would say it's very much. But if you're talking about, it's just a wedding party, minimal seniors are going to be there, it's mainly friends, why not? It should be a relaxed and enjoyable time, and not just sit down with your back straight as if the queen is going to walk in the very next minute. Nah, yeah. So both way works. It's very much depending on who are your guests. That's how.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. And then just Zita, what is your view on this?
So I would say the same as what Kenneth suggests, that it's up to you or up to the guest, but it also depends on what setting of venue you have. So if you're having a garden wedding, a lounge setup is amazing. Or if you're having a better wind tent or that kind of setup, that's great. But if you're having a castle wedding or a very formal wedding, I do have a bride that's getting married in a castle. It's not going to work with the lounges. The lounges, what you could do with the lounges is have that in your pre-reception area where your guests sit and wait. But you could do the lounges and have your small, intimate food pre-packed, or a smaller harvest table just for that table to sticking to the COVID protocol. But yeah, I guess it will be totally up to you and the vibe you really want to go for your wedding day.
Thank you very much. We have gone over a bit over time, but I'm going to ask each of you just to end off on a positive note. Attendees out there looking at maybe postponing their weddings, or they feel very heartbroken about the regulations that we currently have, and they are almost in between now. Should they actually postpone their weddings, or should they go for a more intimate wedding? I think if each of us can just give a message of hope out there for people planning their weddings in this very difficult time, what would you say? Let's go over to Jenna. Thank you very much for joining us, first of all, today, Jenna. What would your final message be to our attendees?
It's so difficult because I always try and share words of wisdom in this time on our platforms. And at the end of the day, I can't fix anything that these brides are feeling, but to know that you will have your magical day, no matter what, whether it's small and intimate, whether it's the biggest party that you're going to wait for, it will be magical. And I've had many brides send messages saying, you know what, I did it. I had an intimate wedding at my parents' backyard, 25 people, and it was the best day ever. So at the end of the day, just keep your head strong and your heart strong, and know your magical day will happen no matter what you end up deciding to do with that day.
Thank you so much, Jenna. And then next we have Hendrik. You normally bring happiness to the party. So what would you say is your positive note to our attendees today?
Well, the biggest thing currently is stop looking into the negative part of COVID and start planning your dream day. I think that going forward, there's going to be tough times heading in the future, but there's going to be tough times without COVID as well. So don't look into the COVID scenario. Plan your big day and enjoy your day. If you don't enjoy it, you've planned for nothing.
Thank you so much, Hendrik. I think definitely that is a thing that we need to start focusing on. A lot of people talk about the new normal. It's not a new normal anymore. This is our normal now, and it's not new anymore. We've been through this now, celebrating, or not celebrating, but we're going into our 1 year of lockdown in South Africa, and it's no longer a new thing. So definitely, like you say, start planning it, move on, and try and still experience your dream wedding. Next up is Zita. Zita, what is your message of hope to our attendees?
So every bride before COVID, I used to say something is going to go wrong, regardless. So it's the same with the current situation. This is just something that has gone wrong, and you just need to pre-plan. And my only advice would be is have your smaller list if you still want to go ahead with that, and have a bigger list and potential other dates that you are looking at. So just pre-plan, and in your save the dates going forward, put there save the date, just in case date might change, just to prep your guests regardless, because anything can change. We're living in a world that's currently changing, but it's not going to go away, and you're going to get married. You're going to get married. Whether it means you're getting married with 10 people or 100 people, you're going to get married. So you just got to enjoy the moment, do the planning, do everything. I keep telling the brides, just plan like you're having your massive wedding. And then when it gets closer to the time, we'll then really look at the dates. But you can't sit there and cry and think you're never going to get married, because you're going to get married regardless. So that's
Definitely.
Just be positive. It's gonna happen.
Thank you so much, Zita. And last on our list is Kenneth. Kenneth, what is your message of hope for our attendees today?
Honestly, Zita have actually said what I would like to say. It's just that keep calm, continue planning for your wedding. All right, there's no way you're not gonna get married. Like it or not, we have been through a year of it, and I always like to quote this. Look at Hong Kong when they were hit by SARS. They were also at a stage where they got to go for smaller weddings, restrictions and so on, and where they are. And I believe it's the same. We are going towards where our normal is. We are not going to stay on this condition for good. Rest assured, yes, maybe some things like your face mask and so on, but we will come back eventually. We are starting to see crowds are coming back. If you have gone to the malls, you practically may have difficulty finding parking space too. So don't worry about it. Just keep calm, continue planning. It will happen if you believe it.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. And I think from my side, I would also like to thank all of our attendees for supporting, first of all, Espousal South Africa. This is the first step of supporting the wedding industry, especially in South Africa, going through a very difficult time with not a lot of funding for suppliers out there. A lot of the South African wedding planners are small, like one sole-owned companies, or a person just doing this from their house or something like that, where it's very difficult to stay afloat. And I think if our attendees can support the wedding industry by making use of suppliers, I do know that South Africans love to do a lot of their wedding planning themselves. But now, if you do have the budget, do support platforms like Jenna and them have. Do support companies like Hendrik with entertainment, companies like Zita, where they can help you with the planning. And it's really important to support the wedding industry in our country, and that way we can also get the economy back in line and grow this industry. It is an amazing industry in South Africa, and I do think if all of us stand together, we will return to where we left things off. And it's really good to see that we have such amazing suppliers online, attendees actually supporting this great initiative. So thank you very much for all of our panelists today. We are over time, but thank you very much for listening in, and we really appreciate your support. And I wish all of our panelists all the best, and may we all get through this difficult time and still create magic for all of our clients. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.